Welcome to the Unpacking It live podcast presented by Medi-Share. I'm Bryce Johnson with Luke and Henry. We are here for the next hour to unpack sports, faith, and life with you, the Unpacking It community of sports fans. We are fired up to be here as NFL training camps are underway. We've got some NFL topics to discuss. The Pro Football Hall of Fame enshrinement ceremony took place over the weekend, and one of my former Carolina Panthers players that I rooted for went into the Hall of Fame, Sam Mills. And today, during our Unpack This segment, where we take sports stories, relate them to the Bible, relate them to our own lives, I want to take the mantra that Sam Mills was known for, continues to be known for, which is keep pounding. And so we're going to unpack that today on the show, and I think it'll be encouraging for all of us on this Monday as we start a fresh week. And I'm coming off a very fun weekend with my wife. We're celebrating 9 years of marriage, and this Wednesday is the official anniversary date. But August 10th is also the birthday of my daughter. And so Maddie will be 3 years old on August 10th, and we will celebrate 9 years August 10th. So the month of August is celebration month in the Johnson household. And so it's gotten off to a great start. And so also last week, I went to a sporting event for the first time, a game, an event, an opportunity that I have never experienced before. I will tell you about that in just a moment. Same thing for Luke, but it was a different sport. And so we're going to share that with you today. During Tap Drill, we've got some fun topics. Will Zalatoris fires his caddy, who happens to be his best friend. There was a Patriot player that did something crazy to avoid looking bad in front of Bill Belichick. And then two other broadcasting stories that I want to talk about from the NFL world, as this time of year, they're always, one's college football. So from the football world, this time of year, a lot of changes to broadcasting. So we'll have some fun discussing that as well. We also have a life quandary today. Something happened to me last week when I was out at this sporting event that I have to get your thoughts on. So stick around for that. But we will begin with I'm convinced, and we're changing it up a little bit. It's just going to be a quick, short thing that we're convinced of. We want to hear what you're convinced of following the weekend as well. And I'm convinced that quarterback battles are not decided during training camp. So don't buy the hype. Don't get caught up in, well, this guy was 8 of 11 on the final drive of training camp, so he's going to win the starting job. That has nothing to do with it. I'm convinced of it. We'll talk more about it later today. Luke, good morning, good afternoon. Great to see you. You're drinking some milk on this Monday afternoon. Feeling good. I had some milk with my cereal this morning, but I'm not drinking milk in the middle of a broadcast. Crazy man. But how you doing?
Well, I love that you bring that up. I was getting ready for the show, and Madeline was saying, "What are you doing? You can't drink milk on the show."
Unacceptable.
And I'm thinking, you better believe I can. I am a loyal advocate of whole milk. So good.
Oh, whole milk?
Oh,
wow,
come on.
That's heavy.
Oh, no. Skim milk's like just milk-flavored water. Get that out of here. Get it out of here.
Goodness.
Want nothing to do with it. But today, I'm convinced at a sporting event, you should, on the back of your ticket, you should have a maximum number of yells or screams you're allowed to offer at that event. And I experienced this at the Big Three. Loyal donor Mike, supporter of Unpacking It, scored me some tickets. And there were some gals behind us who were every point. I mean, shrieking scream. I'm thinking
for the Big Three, just die hard Big Three fans,
absolute diehards. But I'm thinking, you know what? I'm okay for the really passionate scream, the yell, big thing just happened. But you know,
every rebound
every point, literally every basket that was made. But I'm thinking, you know what? On the back of tickets, you need to look on. Okay, I'm sitting in this section. All right, I get 10 screams this game. All right, and we got to be strategic how you use it. We got to have a maximum because
The constant is tough.
they hit triple digits for sure. It was crazy.
Wow. Well, I want to hear all about your time at the Big Three. We will do that in a moment. A couple things I need to mention. So that's what we're convinced of today. Let us know what you're convinced of. Jump on the chat. Henry's working the chat today. So whether you're listening, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, glad you're here with us, and let us know your thoughts throughout the show, but also what you're convinced of. And then when we do Life Quandary, I want to hear your thoughts, especially on that. And then for those of you that listen later, we love the emails. So shoot me an email, Bryce@unpackingit.com. All of our loyal podcast listeners, we love you just as much as our live listeners. So everybody that's a part of this, we're all in this together. Some join us live, some later. Hey, it's awesome. We are brought to you by Medi-Share. And so we're so thankful for Medi-Share, our partnership with them that continues. And so we're working on some new things with them. So excited about that. You can visit Medishare.com/unpackingit. Medi-Share is an innovative healthcare solution for Christians looking to save money without sacrificing on quality. Medi-Share is a biblical, affordable alternative to health insurance. Members of Medi-Share save up to 50% or more per month on their healthcare costs. My family, we are members, have been for 6 years or so. And what's cool is a typical family saves up to $500 per month. And so that's sort of you got to figure out kind of where your family comes out on that. But check it out. Anyone can kind of become a member if you qualify and go through the process, but you can do it at any time. So open enrollment is coming up, but you can also become a member anytime. And so figure out if it's the right fit for your family. If you got to qualify and all that. So check out Medishare.com/unpackingit. And it really is the best alternative to health insurance that allows Christians to share one another's medical bills. So nation's largest healthcare sharing community, Medishare.com/unpackingit. All right. The other thing, Luke, I know you're excited for fantasy football season. I am as well.
Come on.
And here at Unpacking It, we have an option for you to be in our listener league. And so if you're part of the Unpacking It community, we'd love for you to be in our league. We're actually going to have 3 different divisions. And those 3 divisions, the top teams from each division will then compete in the playoffs. So individual drafts, individual pools of NFL players to pick from. But then we'll have like one Unpacking It champion at the end of it all. So go to unpackingit.com/fantasy. And so maybe Henry can put that in the chat. Unpackingit.com/fantasy. Would love for you to sign up and be a part of our leagues. We also have the 32-team league as well. If you don't want to participate maybe in the week in, week out with the draft and trades and all that, if you don't have as much time this fall.
Do you remember who won those last year?
Team league. The Rams won.
Okay.
Is the one that I can remember. So
I had the Bengals in one league, I think last year, and did very well.
That's right.
The Bengals treated me very nicely.
And that was sort of a surprise for many. And same with the Rams. It's not like the Rams came in the average fan wasn't expecting the Rams to be as dominant as they were from a fantasy perspective, Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford and kind of across the board. So anyway, that's fun. So we'd love for you to be a part of our fantasy leagues. All right, Luke. So you had the opportunity to go see a Big 3 game or multiple games. How's it set up? Take us into what it turned out to be. Big 3 was in Dallas. And so shout out to one of our loyal listeners who was able to hook you up with some tickets. And so you enjoyed it, huh?
It was incredible. Thanks again so much to Mike, who has some stock in the league and whatnot, and was very generous to be listening to a recent podcast and think, oh yeah, Luke's in the area. I'm in Charlotte. See if he wants to use the tickets. And if you're a listener of the show, you know Bryce and I both are diehard basketball fans. So the Big 3, at least maybe 4 or 5 years old. I think it's got some progress now, but a lot of NBA veterans, like Katino Mobley plays. I watched him play, which was interesting with his gray beard. Looks so old, but still so physical. But then some guys who had a handful of seasons in the NBA, Quincy Miller. But basically, it's 3-on-3, and you watch 3 games, or at least what we were at was 3 games. It was the last week before the playoffs start, and only 4 teams make the playoffs. So I think some teams had already been eliminated. But we were able to have suite access, which was awesome. So it was at the Comerica Center.
Man, you were spoiled.
Oh,
this
spoiled.
was big time.
Absolutely spoiled.
You weren't in the nosebleeds for the big 3.
Oh, yeah. Pull up to the parking garage, flash our owner parking badge. He's like, oh, yeah, right this way. And then we go in. We go to the table. Are you media or are you owners? I'm like, I'm an owner, which felt amazing to say. I'm like, I didn't say, I'm an owner gave me his tickets. I said, I'm an owner. Yeah, I belong here.
Oh, listen to you. Listen to you. You give the waitress a hard time when she says my place. Oh, let me see what I can do for you.
True.
And here you are pretending to be an owner.
The hypocrisy.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
I gotta call you out. That's cool. So you're all right. So you're able to
we go up to the suite.
Owner for
great
a day.
Food. We watched the first game from the suite, and we went down to the floor seats for the second 2 games. I mean, it's incredible. Sitting that close. I've sat courtside at a Mavs game long time ago, and being that close, hearing the chatter, the players talk, the coaching, seeing how physical they play, it's unbelievable. Like, my goodness, I know I could never make anywhere close to professional basketball, but it was even hammered. That idea was even hammered home even more because they let them play in the big 3. It's narrow, like very confined space, 3-on-3 basketball. The coolest thing though is these legends come out. So I took my mom, my stepdad, my sister, her fiance, and then Madeline. So all 6 of us. I felt like such a big shot treating my family, even though I didn't pay for it. But I'm like, oh, I got the one with the connections. My mom's a diehard basketball fan, grew up playing. And when Dr. J walked out, because his team played.
He's a coach.
As a coach, yeah. So he was one of the coaches for Tri-State. But my mom was going crazy. It was so cool to see her excited. Meanwhile, I'm excited to go take a picture with Brian Scalabrine, who's on the broadcast, in-game entertainment interviews broadcast.
Your long-lost brother.
So if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I have a series of Instagram stories where I see a stranger who has red hair, and I take a picture with him. And it's like, I call it the bloodline. So I say, hey, any stranger with red hair, waiter, waitress, someone taking my order, a stranger, I go and I say, hey, I'd love to get a picture with you, fellow redhead. Went up to Brian Scalabrine, said, hey, Brian, can I get a picture? Love for my fellow redhead. He said, good to see you, man. Let's take a pic. And then arm around each other. So Bryce is a hater of the arm around a celebrity when you take a picture with them. But I went full arm, patted his back multiple times during the picture. So,
and did he pat your back?
He didn't pat the back, but he said,
No.
good to see you, man.
Good to see you, man. You and Brian Scalabrine. I love it.
White Mamba.
So there was no Ice Cube sighting.
No,
Is that right?
Well, so
that's
Mike
what I
texted
want
me
you
after.
to try to put your arm around Ice Cube. That would have been the challenge. Brian
That would have been the
Scalabrine,
challenge.
it's fine. And fellow redhead.
Yeah.
Let's see really with the Ice Cube situation, but that didn't happen.
But it's good basketball. If you should go out, if Big 3 comes to your town, you should go out and watch.
Very cool. Well, if I get the hookup like you did, I might do that because I've never sat on the court for a sporting event. I've never been on the sideline either for a football game. I don't think so. Yeah, so that's still on the bucket list. So I got to try to do that. So very cool. Well, that's awesome. And the funny thing was, so you experienced that over the weekend. Then last week, I went to my first Major League Soccer game. I am now a diehard Charlotte FC loyal fan. And guess what? We won 3-0. 3-0. So my debut.
3-0. 3-0.
3-0 out on the pitch wearing their, they're not called jerseys. What are they called? They got
Shirts.
some other shirts.
Yeah,
my buddy Brady was giving me all the lingo. I had to learn some of the keeper, not goalie. Don't say goalie.
Oh, yeah.
What is this?
Well,
hockey?
so let me call you out here for a second. You get on to me for the hypocrisy of I'm the owner. Let me get on to you. Wearing a jersey to the game. I get a picture of you and Brady at the game, and you're in a jersey. And I'm thinking, whoa. Either he's done a massive 180, or I got to hold him accountable for Mr. Anti-Grown Man jersey wearing.
All right, so here's the story there. So a couple years ago, my wife had work in Ecuador, and she came back with an Ecuador soccer shirt, and
No.
bright yellow. And I'm thinking, all right, what am I going to do with a bright yellow shirt? This is a bold soccer shirt. And I appreciated the gift from Jody, but I was like, all right. So anyway, it's been in my closet in my basement closet for a while. And so I dusted that baby off because I'm looking around. I go, what do I wear to a soccer game? And, I could have been Mr. Polo guy, but I was like, I'll try to embrace the soccer culture. So what do I have? So I went to the Ecuador shirt. The key to that shirt, there is no name on the back. So I'm not wearing another man's jersey. I was just wearing the Ecuador shirt. But I show up and my buddy Brady is like, what was the yellow? What is this? What are you for the other team? And so, yeah, we're bright blue. Oh, you found it. You found the picture. There it is. For those of you watching, you can see the picture. I can't figure out if I'm yawning. So we got caught. We got caught on the camera. I'm not aware that they found the picture of me. But there I am.
So funny. Wearing an Ecuador jersey
at a local MLS game. So it was absolutely fantastic. So it was.
Will you go back to a soccer game?
I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
It was a big event. We had to show up early because we had to go watch there was like a parade before, or a march. I can't say parade. It's a march. All these words are very specific to soccer. So the loyal soccer fans were marching down to the stadium, and we had to watch and cheer them on. And I was a little out of my comfort zone, but it was fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a big soccer guy.
Is Brady a diehard?
He's diehard, season ticket holder.
Wow.
So he's there. Yeah. So we had good seats, though. Really good seats, good food, good game, very relaxing. I was afraid that the soccer fans were going to be on their feet the entire game, but thankfully my section was not that way. So we celebrated 3 times. So I stood out of my seat 3 times, and then one other time to get food. So it was awesome. Turned out really well.
I'm anti stand-up whole game. I'm trying to go there to watch some sports. Like at A&M basketball games, all the student section, it's like, oh yeah, you're sitting down. Oh, not a true fan. Stand up. No, I'm going to avoid the student section. I'm going to go sit somewhere way far away, sit down, enjoy some basketball. So yeah, I stand up to celebrate, but am I trying to stand for 3 hours? No, come on now.
I can't do that. But I love the length of a soccer game. I was home fairly early, so I could get behind it. I ended up getting great parking, which was awesome. So one of my biggest fears in life is the battle for parking, especially in a city. And I ended up finding a great spot. So that was a nice blessing for me. So
sounds like all around George Costanza right now.
That's right.
Spot. See that spot out there?
Yeah, I know. I was thinking about it the rest of the night. I couldn't wait to go home and tell Jody about it. I was so excited. No, the soccer game was great, but most importantly, I found a really good parking spot right on the side, and I paid less than $2 for it. So it was fantastic. Bad. Yeah, really good. All right, so those were our shenanigans from the past week. Thankfully, we can move on from soccer. No, it's fine. It's cool. I like it. It's going to continue, but now football season's here. So here we go.
Premier League season's here. Come on now.
Soccer is we put it, it's there. It's floating around, but football takes center stage now. American football. I've been trying to explain this to little Maddie as well, a 3-year-old. We got football and soccer, American football, very confusing. But the Pro Football Hall of Fame game really kicks things off preseason. Wasn't a great game, but at least it got it started. And then over the weekend, we had the enshrinement ceremony. And I always love hearing the speeches from the players and listening to the stories and listening to kind of, them try to summarize their whole journey. And you hear really about kind of who they are and where they came from and what was most important to them. And I always find those to be very just eye-opening, uplifting, and enjoyable to listen to. And so a couple of these names are interesting. When I first started watching football, Tony Baselli was with the Jaguars, and the Panthers and the Jags both came into the NFL together. So Baselli was one of their big name guys. Bryant Young actually lives in Charlotte. And so hopefully we're going to do some ministry stuff with him in Charlotte at some point. So be on a lookout for that. And then also Dick Vermeil. So of course I love the Kurt Warner Rams years, but I listened to Dick Vermeil interviewed the other day, and the reporter asked him, what's it like having or being portrayed in 2 different movies? And it hit me, and I'm go, wow, he was in Invincible, Greg Kinnear
Oh my
played
gosh,
him
yes.
in Invincible. And then Dick Vermeil, of course, was played by
Wow.
Dennis Quaid in American Underdog, the Kurt Warner story.
Okay, so you have to watch a football movie. Are you watching the Kurt Warner story? Or are you watching Invincible?
Gosh, both are great. I think I liked American Underdog. I guess I haven't seen Invincible in a while.
Oh,
I probably lean a little bit toward American Underdog.
movie.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was awesome.
I forgot about that though.
But,
What a
how
deep
about
cut.
but think about if you're an NFL head coach, you're not in two movies, like
You're
not
portrayed.
a cameo in two movies. You're portrayed by two pretty legit actors. Like those are studs.
Oh yeah.
In the acting game, and so that was pretty cool. So I kind of realized that. But the player I want to talk about is from the Carolina Panthers, and sadly, Sam Mills died at the age of 45, and now years later goes into the Hall of Fame and is honored for the career that he had with the Saints and the Panthers, a tremendous career. And so each week on the show, we do a segment called Unpack This. We take a sports story related to the Bible, related to our own lives. And so I want to unpack his story and one amazing story that continues to live on, that started with something he said. But what's cool about Sam Mills, 5'9", undrafted linebacker, Montclair State. He was a walk-on there. That's where he went to college.
Montclair State, goodness.
To then play 12 seasons in the NFL, he only missed 11 games. So it's like an average of a game a season, which is very, very
USFL
impressive.
before the NFL?
Yes, he played in the USFL as well. So, or CFL, whatever, USFL. I think it was the USFL. And so then he ends up he joins the Panthers for the final couple seasons of his career. And in the second year of the Panthers as an expansion team, they went to the NFC Championship game, and he kind of led the way. And so had an incredible career. So his wife, Melanie, gave the induction speech, and she said he was a father, a friend, a husband, a leader who always kept pounding no matter the odds. And so what makes Mills so special is not only did he have a great career and he finished strong as a player, in his final year, he was a Pro Bowler with the Panthers, taking him to the NFC Championship game. But later on, after his career, he became a coach, and he was coaching with the Panthers, and he gets diagnosed with cancer. And throughout his whole life, including the cancer battle, he was always known as this guy who never gave up, didn't complain or make excuses. His attitude and his mindset really was to, keep pounding. Like that was to keep persevering, to keep going. And he wanted, to be inspired himself to keep pounding, but he also wanted other people to keep pounding. And so back in the summer of 2003 was the summer that he was diagnosed. And so the Panthers head into that season. He goes, no, I'm going to still coach, even though he was told he'd only have a few months to live. He continues to coach. He continues to show up. He continues to keep pounding. And so it was January 2nd, 2004. And apparently throughout that season, head coach John Fox always had kind of a different player or coach wrap up practice, like the day before the game. And so this was the playoff game. The Panthers had a home game against Luke's Dallas Cowboys. And Coach Fox asked Sam Mills. Sam Mills wasn't prepared for this necessarily. He said, hey, can you give the final kind of, final words as we wrap up practice and get ready for the game tomorrow. And so this is according to Panthers.com, an article entitled "The Day Keep Pounding Was Born." And this is what the teammates, this wasn't recorded. Nobody has a recording of it, but this is just what the players remember of Sam Mills saying. When I found out I had cancer, there were two things I could do: quit or keep pounding. I'm a fighter. I kept pounding. You're fighters too. Keep pounding. And so,
Man.
I mean, so this was the moment that he says it, and they rallied behind it. There was something special coming from him with what he was going through. And so not only did they go out the next day and beat your Cowboys 29-10, but the Panthers went on a run that year all the way to the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah.
And the Patriots, of course, as they always do, they lucked out and got the win. But the Panthers went to the Super Bowl that year, and I remember this is my favorite Panthers team ever. And so Sam Mills was a coach, but
Jake Delhomme.
Jake Delhomme was the quarterback, of course. But this team kept pounding. It was special in the city. You could feel it. There were a lot of just even other stories that kind of went around this idea of keep pounding. And so anyway, it started then, and now years later, all these years later, the Panthers are known for this saying. Like, that's the rallying cry. Keep pounding. Go Panthers. Keep pounding.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, this is so.
Well, I knew that. I've heard that with the Panthers, but I had no idea that was connected to Sam Mills.
Absolutely, he got it going. So here on the, if you can see this on the video, this is a Luke Kuechly jersey. In the background, it says in the neck, the collar. Thank you. It said the stitching. Keep pounding. So anyway, this is a part of the fabric of this city, of this franchise. And it's phenomenal. They got the keep pounding drum before the games. An honorary person, hits the drum. Steph Curry's done that over the years. And so here's the deal. How does this relate to our lives? It's obvious, right? We all want to keep pounding. And so we all encounter our own daily challenges, seasonal trials, lifelong obstacles. And there are countless situations where we choose to keep pounding or give up. And we choose to either keep fighting, persevere, endure, or quit. And so as followers of Jesus, we have an enemy that wants us to lose hope, to be discouraged, to be overcome with worry and doubts, and to give up on our faith. However, we must keep pounding. We must keep going. We must keep persevering. In the Bible, Paul gives Timothy a similar plea. But you, Timothy, are a man of God. So run from all these evil things. Pursue righteousness and a godly life, along with faith, love, perseverance, and gentleness. Fight the good fight for the true faith. Hold tightly to the eternal life to which God has called you, which you have declared so well before many witnesses. And so no matter what we face, we cling to Jesus, relying on his strength to help us fight the good fight of faith each day as we place our hope in his promises and the eternal life we have in him. And so as long as God still has us here, we persevere in the faith and we inspire others to do the same. And so today, let's be encouraged to keep praying, to keep trusting, to keep obeying, to keep seeking God first, and keep pounding, not in our own strength, but as we yield to the power of the Holy Spirit within us. We're able to endure. We're able to persevere. We're able to overcome. As Ephesians 6:18 in the Amplified Version says, with all prayer and petition, pray with specific requests at all times, on every occasion, and in every season, in the Spirit. And with this in view, stay alert with all perseverance and petition, interceding in prayer for all God's people. And so we with perseverance and petition, we continue to pray. We continue to trust God, continue to go to him, and we keep pounding. Life is hard. Life is hard. We talk about it every week probably. Life is hard. Day in, day out, it's hard. But we can keep pounding because we have the power of the Holy Spirit within us to allow us the strength and energy and power that we need to keep going. So, man, Sam Mills is dearly missed, and it's always sad to see someone honored for the Hall of Fame. It's not there to experience it. But what's so special with someone like Sam Mills to have a mantra, an attitude, a catchphrase that isn't just, it's not even like a cheat. I mean, I guess some people could say it's cheesy. No, it's powerful to keep pounding, to have that mentality that Panthers fans know that and understand that. And some people, it's one thing to just, we're going to keep pounding and it's in our own selfish ability or our own human ability, I should say. But when we actually take that a step further and totally yield to the power of the Holy Spirit within us to keep pounding, we go on another level. We're able to handle more than we could ever imagine on our own. But that's what God allows us to do, to keep pounding, to keep going. So Luke, I know you're a Cowboys fan, but hopefully even Cowboys fans can resonate with the concept of perseverance and continuing to keep pounding.
Well, if there was any time for Cowboys fans to persevere, it's now going on a quarter century of Super Bowl appearance. So
that's right. I'm glad the Panthers added one of those playoff losses.
That's true. Yeah, it's not like we have that many playoff losses anyway. A lot of playoff misses.
That's a good point.
So, but that's a great parallel. It's important to unpack. And I think in my life, I talked about this before. Like, it's losing my dad is a part of my story, and that was absolutely a time in my life when I was 8. Our family had to keep pounding, persevere. And even now, it's persevering and to fight for what is true, or for what God has revealed as true. And I think in Hebrews 12, run the race marked out for us with perseverance, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. And I love that you bring up, when we are pounding, when we're persevering by the power of the Holy Spirit, that's when we can actually persevere. But when we persevere in our own strength, I'm constantly reminded how my own strength fails me all the time. But I forget the reference, but I'm made strong in my weakness. When we are weak, when we die to self and we yield to the power of the Spirit, we're actually able to be carried along by God to faithfulness, towards sanctification. And all of us, no matter if it's a small trial, a huge trial, all of us have something to persevere through right now. And if you don't know what that is, take a moment today or this week to think, what is challenging me to persevere towards faithfulness to God? What is trying to steer me off course? What am I pursuing in my own strength? What am I pursuing selfishly? Or is there a hardship of outside circumstances that's really challenging? We all have something to persevere through, to got to keep pounding, to be faithful to God, to love God, to choose what is good.
And to encourage others too. So maybe we've gotten out of a tough season and we're feeling maybe a little bit better about our current circumstances for now. Then there's somebody else around us that needs that encouragement to keep pounding, and they need to hear it. And sometimes coming from somebody else and to use our experiences and what we've been through. And, for Sam Mills to be able to say that, hey, keep pounding, guys. We're talking about a football game. He's talking about battling cancer to keep pounding. So it carried some extra weight that was even more inspiring in those moments.
Yeah. That's a good reminder. And our recent interview with Jeff Payne, he talked about the power of someone speaking into you. And for him, it was when he was playing for the Chiefs chaplain spoke into him, hey, I think God could be calling you to ministry. But the parallel to that is, you're right. We have, and James 3 talks about this, the power of our words is huge. We have the power to encourage others by God's grace, to encourage them to do good, encourage them to persevere, encourage them to keep pounding, or we can say nothing, which can hurt them, or we can say actually negative things towards them. So the power of encouraging others, especially if you see someone experiencing a similar hardship or a similar trial, that's a huge opportunity to speak encouragement into them, especially if you're on the other side of that trial. Like, we don't want to waste or miss those opportunities, because all of us have experienced some type of trial that others can relate to, that others would benefit from our encouragement to keep pounding.
That's right. So, and then, just the day to day, it's hard to be a follower of Jesus in today's culture and all that's pushing at us. And so we've got to keep fighting the good fight of faith, keep pounding as followers of Jesus, pursuing him, following his way, and surrounding ourselves with that encouragement that you're talking about.
And we have every hope to keep pounding. Like, Jesus rising from the dead is why we keep pounding.
That's right.
Like, he rose from the dead, defeated sin and death on our behalf. We have a hope that actually allows us to keep persevering. We're not persevering towards nothing.
That's
We
right.
have every reason to persevere because our hope is guaranteed in Christ.
That's right. Amen. Amen. No, it's awesome. So, yeah, excited Sam Mills is in, and thrilled that my team, the Panthers, has such a cool, encouraging mantra. So I got to put it on the wall in here or something. I don't think I have it in here. We need
pounding. Unpacking It Ministries. Keep pounding.
Well, we can't. Come on, we can't. That's the Panthers, but we
yeah.
we can borrow it. We can borrow it today. So that devotional will go out later today. And if you haven't signed up for that yet, be sure to do so. Unpackingit.com/subscribe. We send it out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, an encouraging email devotional. We take sports stories related to the Bible, related to our own lives, and we just want to challenge, encourage, and inspire one another to follow Jesus and become more like him. And so you can unpack that and unpack it Wednesday and Fridays as well. So take a look at our website, unpackingit.com. All right, so the Hall of Fame took place over the weekend. And actually, I told you guys, back in June, I was at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, was at the stadium doing the Fatherhood Festival, which was awesome. And then I took a tour of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It really is a special place. And I was reading an article over the weekend that they're building this. They want it to be like Disney World for sports fans. And so they're building like a hotel with a water park and all the, just kind of all these activities surrounding
husbands everywhere are thinking family vacation to Canton.
That's
Let's go.
I know. They've hit a couple snags, but that's still the dream for Canton, which is really cool.
Wow.
So there's that side of it, which is neat, the experience for fans. And then for the players, it's, am I going to be a Hall of Famer? Am I going to get in? And then we as fans like to debate, is that player a Hall of Famer? Is he not? What should the standard be? And I kind of struggle with this because sometimes my default, which I've mentioned over the years, is I just think no-brainers should be in the Hall of Fame. And that might only mean one a year or two a year. And it's just kind of like clear-cut guys that get in right after they, retire or 5 years after or whatever, and boom. But as I see guys go in over the years and guys that, as they always say, help tell the story of the NFL, I understand it. And like I said, hearing the speeches, you want to see these guys in and you want to hear, somebody like, the story of Sam Mills, who meant a lot as a player to the NFL, but also all that he contributed beyond that, even after he passed away, like that adds to what pro football is all about. And the NFL is all about, and the players that represent that. And so I understand why guys do get in. And sometimes it's at positions like the offensive line that we don't necessarily notice play after play, but the impact that they had when you, especially when you hear from defensive players talking about that offensive line, or a defensive lineman like a Bryant Young, you hear offensive linemen talk about how hard it was to stop him. Mm-hmm. So then we as fans start to appreciate and respect these guys that have contributed so much to the game. And it's easy for me too, as a quarterback snob, and it's just like, well, just put the quarterbacks in. Well, come on, Bryce, get a clue. I'm talking to myself in the third person. How annoying is that? But that's how we are sometimes. It's like, I'll just put the quarterbacks and the wide receivers in. But a lot of these guys really do. They just contribute. They deserve it, and it makes sense. And I think it makes the whole story of the Pro Football Hall of Fame that much more interesting, especially as you walk through it and experience it.
So I read an interesting article about how to, at the Pro Football Hall, it's the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but it's dominated by the NFL. So it was this interesting article on The Athletic on what do you do with USFL, CFL, people who weren't necessarily associated with the NFL or had a ton of stats in another pro league and then also had an NFL career. It was an interesting article almost advocating for there would be some changes if the USFL was considered for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Voters were interviewed, and they didn't hardly consider anything outside the NFL. So I would wonder your thoughts. But one interesting example was if Herschel Walker, for his Pro Football Hall of Fame stats, if his USFL stats were included, he would have the number one most all-time yards in pro football history. He would surpass Jerry Rice comfortably. And there's other players that, like Jim Mora. What do you like his USFL career? Would you consider that? It was interesting. I don't know what my opinion is, but I read it right before the show on, wow, that's interesting. It's the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but yet it pretty much is the NFL Hall of Fame. Have you ever thought about it? It's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I always wonder, it's also like separate from the NFL. Like the NFL doesn't.
Yeah, it's its own nonprofit, but it's still, but if you look at the inductees, it's the NFL Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Now we'll see if the XFL catches on, or what is it? The USFL now? What's the other one?
The USFL round 2,
back.
I guess.
That's back. Yeah.
Well,
I can't keep up with all the side leagues too much. I know Henry's diehard USFL guy. I'm trying to get into arena football. So somebody asked me recently, hey, did you ever go to an arena football game? I haven't been to an arena football game, but that's like a whole nother.
Hey, don't sleep on the Dallas Desperados. Don't sleep on the Desperados.
But no, I mean, I think some of these guys, yeah, if you combine their extra leagues over the years, I think it's fine. I think for the most part, moving forward, the majority will continue to be the NFL guys, no question. Yeah. But I do. Yeah, I mean, to me, there needs to still be a limit. I think they've caught up with some of the older players that needed to get in, and we're at a good pace now. Now I'm probably, hey, let's keep it to every 5 years, and guys that get rejected for 15 straight years, that's hard to keep putting them up for the vote. I think at some point earlier on, players need to be kind of off the eligible list, if that makes sense. I do think it drags on a little bit too long at times.
Yeah,
but
that's tough. Because if you don't make it for the first 20 years, are you really good enough to be in?
It's tough.
Unless it's poorly timed and your eligibility also falls on the eligibility of absolute for sure Hall of Famers, and that could be difficult. But I mean, the Cowboys receiver who waited forever, they got in a couple years ago. Like
Drew Pearson.
That was weird.
Yeah, it was a little late. But I did like the Centennial, the 20 that got in, and so that was a cool way to kind of make up for some of those missed guys over the years.
My favorite thing with the Hall of Fame is still the knock videos where they go and knock and they tell them and they're crying, or their whole party and entourage is in the room going crazy. I mean, if you want to shed some sports tears, go to YouTube and watch just videos of the knock. It's unbelievable. It's unreal.
It is. No, it's amazing for sure. All right. So one other thing I wanted to mention, I said it at the top with what I'm convinced of. There are a couple situations as Luke drinks his milk, which is just disgusting as we're trying to do a game. Or trying to do a game.
I'm freeing you up to have hummus on the show.
Trying to do a show.
I'm laying my life down for the show. I'm drinking milk so you can snack on hummus with no shame.
I got no hummus today. It's game day. It's show day. I got no hummus today, no milk today. Come on. No, it's fine. But no, training camp this time of year, there are a couple quarterback battles to watch. We're not sure who exactly is going to be the starter this season. And so in Seattle, Geno Smith and Drew Lock. In Carolina, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold. It looks like Trey Lance now the guy in San Francisco. So now we're just wondering where Jimmy G ends up. And kind of, I guess, Cleveland's still up in the air. But the two main battles right now are in Seattle and Carolina. And what I find so funny is the updates and the stories that come out and the reports that come out that say, this guy has the inside track, or this guy was 8 of 11 on the final drive of practice today. It looks like he's going to be the guy. Stop it. To me, there is no doubt in my mind that Baker Mayfield will be the starter for the Panthers. So any other discussion or talk about Sam Darnold being the guy, it's August chatter. It's silliness. These GMs and coaches, they know who their starter is going to be. Oh, Pittsburgh's the other one. There you go. Pittsburgh is the other team. Is it going to be Mitch Trubisky or Mason Rudolph? Hey, listen, if Mason Rudolph was going to be the starter, they wouldn't have brought anyone. He would have been the guy. They would have said, hey, we're moving on. Roethlisberger's retiring. We'll miss him. but we got Mason Rudolph. We're ready to go. You know what I'm saying? Because when Brett Favre moved on from Green Bay, they knew it was Aaron Rodgers. There was no question about it. So, but I don't think it's going to be Mason Rudolph. I think it's going to be Mitch Trubisky. They brought him in to be the starter. They will groom Kenny Pickett. Maybe down the line, they'll see if he'll develop. But Kenny Pickett's not going to be the starter, I don't think. I don't think he'll be starter day one. I think they brought in Mitch to be the guy this year, and they've already decided that. So if they're debating in training camp and, big throw by Pickett. No, I don't think so. So, and that's why Baker Mayfield, the Panthers, they wanted to trade for him. They went out and got him. If they loved Sam Darnold so much, they wouldn't have gotten Baker Mayfield. Why would they mess up the locker room? They would have just been all in on Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is not going to be the starter week one. Move on. It's Baker Mayfield. So there you go.
And Baker's not, let's not pretend that Baker's a bad quarterback. Like, very talented.
He's okay.
He just needs a new situation. It was a disaster in Cleveland. And there was, many games in his Cleveland career where he was getting so much praise. Oh, Cleveland's on the right track. Yep, just got to put talent around Baker Mayfield. Let's give him a chance. So, I agree with you there. I just love that. I love when parity is shaken up in sports leagues because it just makes it exciting as a sports fan. So we are in an era right now where there's so much unknown about quarterbacks. We have young quarterbacks like a Josh Allen. Yeah, we know he's really good, but it's still exciting to see, okay, what's going to happen with that Bills team. But the years of the AFC is just Patriots, Colts, or Steelers. That's gone. And then Aaron Rodgers in the NFC, yeah, but now Russell Wilson's gone. There's just so much upheaval and change. So as a sports fan, I'm so excited because I have no clue what's going to happen. And there's so many quarterbacks this season that we're going to watch, okay, are they for real or not? Like, I am so pumped, even as a Cowboys fan, to see, okay, what's Jalen Hurts going to be like this year? That's a really exciting thing to watch. Or even like Herbert and Burrow. What are they going to be like this year? Are they going to continue to take these crazy big steps? Or are they going to have a plateau year? There's so much unknown and excitement because, all these household quarterback names, even like a Matt Ryan, like everything's changing. So as a sports fan, I'm very excited about that.
Absolutely. And I want to continue to be on the record. I'm going to keep pounding that Matt Ryan is going to have an awesome year in Indy. Get ready for the Colts, AFC Championship game, maybe the Super Bowl.
Better than Phillip Rivers there?
Yes, absolutely. Matt Ryan's going to be phenomenal. And I'm also convinced that this is the end for Tom Brady. So this is going to be a tough year. Tough year for those Bucs. It's going to be a tough year. So I know I probably said it 10 years ago, but I'm circling back around 10 years later.
It's going to be interesting.
It's finally over.
Which take is going to...
I think now that I'm reminiscing, I was reminiscing about that 2003 Super Bowl loss for the Panthers. My New England Patriot hatred, my Tom Brady hatred that I had stuffed down for a while. I've started to appreciate Tom Brady. It's back. It's back, and I'm out. I'm out on the Bucs. I'm out on Brady.
It's interesting. Which take are you pounding more? The Buccaneers being done, the Bucs are done, or Matt Ryan and the Colts you're buying all their stock? Both you are very passionate about.
Very passionate about. So I also really like the Chargers. So that's why it's tough. The Chargers and the Colts, for me, are the teams to beat in the AFC.
But your love for the Chargers isn't a new take. You've been on the Chargers the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
You were early on the Herbert train.
I was. And then I'm just kind of a long-time Colts fan. So but I am on the Matt Ryan bandwagon. So it should be fun. So a couple more things to get to today. Appreciate the chat, those jumping in on the chat. Thanks to Henry keeping an eye on that. And we'll do tap drill in a moment. We got a couple fun topics. One story is just outrageous involving the Patriots and a former player. I can't even wrap my mind around it. So you'll want to stick around for that. But most weeks on this show, we talk sports, we talk faith, we also talk life. And we have a segment we call Life Quandaries. And it's a question that just pops up in social circumstances, life situations, and sometimes we need advice, or sometimes maybe we'll even give advice in these segments. And today I want to go back to my experience with the soccer game and the Charlotte FC. And so I was with my good buddy Brady, took me to the game. And before we got into the game, he ended up bumping into someone that he knew. And all of a sudden, those two were talking. And I noticed very quickly that, okay, I'm not going to be a part of this conversation because I didn't get roped in initially. And so then I had a choice to make. Do I step into the conversation and try to, hey, I'm here with Brady. I want to be a part of this conversation. Or do I just pull back and awkwardly stand like the goofy guy with no one to talk to and just kind of look around the room a little bit? And so what do you think I chose to do?
Well, you definitely didn't go option number C of let me pull out and play on my Android.
I could have done that. You know, the old phone trick. It's too easy.
But you're a
People always
personable
play
guy.
the phone trick.
You're a personable guy, so I could see you almost taking over the conversation like I'm the man of the hour here. You guys want to listen to what I have to say.
No, come on now. So I read the room properly, and come to find out later, and I made sure that I was away from the conversation because here's the deal. You have to recognize when it is a flyby conversation, a quick, sometimes awkward, like you bump into people in public that you may know, but you're not really in relationship with. You're not close friends with. You may know them from work. They may be a friend of a friend. They may be a wife or a girlfriend of a friend or a former friend, all that kind of stuff. So you bump into these people in public. You can't just not acknowledge them. So you still acknowledge them. And so you have this conversation, but to be the third wheel in that awkward conversation, no thanks. I'm out. I don't want to be any part of that. But you have to be able to discern and read what the kind of the relationship is like, or are these guys like old buddies, or ooh, that's a casual friendship. I don't want to be involved with that. And here's the other side of this. So the person that knows, the acquaintance, they usually oftentimes will say, hey, here's my friend that I'm with tonight. Oh, here, come. I want you to introduce you to someone. And so usually it's on that person. Mm-hmm. But oftentimes I don't want to be roped in. I don't want the, hey, how you doing? Hey, I'm Bryce. How you doing? And then not say anything because they're still talking. They're catching up. And then you're awkwardly standing there. Yep. And then it's always a quick conversation because, again, it's a flyby conversation. Yeah. And then it's, all right, hey, great to meet you. And so we just said hello, and now we're quickly saying goodbye. So my decision is to bow out completely from the awkwardness. But you're still standing there. But far enough away. So you actually physically move back a little bit. Correct. You do not engage. Yeah. And so come to find out, Brady was glad that I did that. It was an awkward conversation for him, and I saved myself the awkwardness of the night, other than just looking a little goofy, and that was fine. I was already goofy. I was wearing a yellow Ecuador shirt, so I was fine. I was all set. So we'd love to know anybody's thoughts on this. Did I make the wrong choice? What would you do in a similar situation? Do you like getting roped into the, hey, oh, here, say hello real quickly to my friend? It's not worth it. It's too quick. So I had a recent encounter at a wedding, and I did what you did and then multiplied it by probably 10. So Madeline and I are walking around at a wedding, and it's one of her friends from college. I know some people there, but one of her friends, her gal friends, comes up and is talking, and it's obvious it's just about them. No fault of Madeline. Hey, they're catching up. I have zero to offer in this conversation. That's right. So at first I'm standing there. You have to know it. Absolutely. At first I'm standing there. At first the girl walks up. Hey, Luke, good to see you. And then they talk. I'm like, okay, well, I'm out of the conversation. But do I stand here for, it could be 5-10 minutes. And I don't want to stand there awkwardly for 10 minutes. So I took a step back, took another step back, looked around, then went to go look at the cake. Completely removed myself, and then just went and stared at the people cutting the cake. So I'm like, I'd rather do that than just stand here
and they know I'm here, but I'm like almost like this creepy guy just staring at a conversation I'm not a part of, and I don't want any part of that.
No, you don't want to be that third wheel. You don't.
Yeah.
Not in the quick
No.
conversations. Now, if you're diving in deep and you're meeting people and it's like hey, yeah, come on, have a conversation. Hey, you got to meet this guy and you're going to talk maybe for the rest of the night or have a nice opportunity for a long conversation. Yeah, of course. I'm a social guy. You embrace all of that. But you got to read the room. You got to know the circumstance. And so I'm just trying to help people here. Trying to help people.
Absolutely. So
all right, there you go.
I'm with you there. Yeah, it feels uncomfortable standing there staring at a conversation you're not part of. Like, who's this stranger just hovering around us?
It makes it uncomfortable for everyone. It's a lose-lose for everyone because then they feel like they can't talk how they want to because they know that you're there.
Yeah.
It's just a painful situation. It really is.
So the mature move, just step away. It's best for everyone.
And it's no problem. I don't mind if someone wants to catch up. Go for it. I can wait. I know it's going to be a short-term conversation.
Take a fake phone call. I've done that before. It works every time. You take a step back. You kind of look around. Then in your pocket, take a fake. Oh, hey, how's it going? And then you walk away. Man. It works every time.
That's funny. Well, we'd love to know your thoughts on this. You can email me, Bryce, at unpackingit.com, the all-important life quandary of the week. Also, another reminder, if you want to join our fantasy league, go to unpackingit.com/fantasy. Sign up today. We're trying to fill these leagues. Would love for you to be a part of it. Unpackingit.com/fantasy. Luke's going to try to beat me this year because I did beat him last year. So he's trying for some revenge.
I had the best regular season record. Got upset first round.
Sounds like a Cowboys fan. Sounds about right.
Fair. Very fair.
Oh, gosh, I'm killing you today.
I got to break the mold.
I'm killing you today. I'm sorry. Tough day. The milk. It's the milk. You brought it on yourself.
But hey, I got to sit courtside of the big three. So
that's right. I'm just jealous. It's all out of jealousy. It's really what it is. I'm stuck in a soccer game. I got the soccer game. You get the big three. Doesn't seem right. Just kidding, Brady. I love the game. It was awesome. All right, let's jump into Tap Drill. We'll bring Henry Bieneme on with us. He's been working hard on the chat. Appreciate everybody jumping in with him. Henry, we got a couple fun topics today. Go for it.
All right, boys. Hopefully, I won't be a third wheel in this type of conversation. I don't want to make it too awkward. All right, we got a former Pats player who went on a local podcast and said that in order for him, he didn't want to be embarrassed by Bill Belichick for coming in late to practice. So what he did was he crashes his car. You had a grown man who was afraid of being late so that Bill Belichick wouldn't get on him. So to get out of getting yelled at by the great Bill Belichick, he crashes his car. He didn't make up an excuse. He crashed his car. Now, boys, what's the craziest thing that you've done or you've heard people do to justify being late?
I mean, that's an outrageous thing, and I think it's outrageous. It speaks to just how a fine line it is for guys to get cut and how worried they are to get cut. And they know that if they're late to one practice, that could be the end of their chances, their career. And so for his willingness to crash his car, Luke, I think you told me that he crashed into the back of a church van.
100%. He said the driver was breaths away from being 100.
Oh, you've got an NFL player ramming in to a church van just to avoid Bill Belichick. That's how scary he is.
That's
admittedly, I struggle with lateness. It has been a lifelong battle of mine. I'm probably an excuse guy. I'm not a liar, so I probably don't make stuff up necessarily, but I may blame the wrong people I may blame circumstances that aren't really to blame. I just need to own, hey, I'm late because I'm late. So I've tried to be better about that versus blaming traffic or something. It's like, yeah, traffic may have contributed, but if I would have left 10 minutes earlier, I wouldn't have been late. So it's one of those things where that's probably what I've learned over the years. Just
what you have to do. Make it your identity. You're the late guy. No, that's your thing.
My identity. No, that's terrible advice. It's awful advice.
That's what I've done. People know, yeah, Luke will be a few minutes late. I've milked dry the fashionably late mantra. Yeah, fashionably late.
No,
but
It's not good.
So,
I can't approve it.
The wife does not appreciate, and I've had to
No.
meet her in the middle. However, people just kind of know that about me, and I almost get away with it now.
No, I've been getting away with it too. It's not good. I can't. It's not a good thing.
I will say
promise.
though, when you're driving somewhere and you have tons of time to spare, such a good feeling. Rushing in the car
imagine.
feels horrible.
That
But
is.
for some
And
reason,
dangerous.
I think and my mom told me I inherited it from my dad, where if you have 10 minutes, you need to leave in 10 minutes, it feels like you have an hour. Oh, I got 10 minutes? I got plenty of time. Now times I've told that to Madeline, 20 minutes? We got plenty of time. I said, Luke, do you know how much you have to get done in 20 minutes? It's 20 minutes. That's so much time. Never enough.
I struggle with calculating time. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. I'm with you on that. All right, Henry, next one.
Well, hopefully I can stay on time with this next topic here. If you watch the NBC Football Night in America, you notice that they had 2 new additions among the additions that they had. We talked about this a few weeks ago, while we had broadcasters moving from platform to platform. So the NBC Football Night in America introduced Jason Garrett, former Dallas Cowboys head coach, and Matthew Berry, former ESPN fantasy football guy. Now, I actually got a chance to take a look at this. Guys, this looked kind of awkward. It really did, putting the 2 of them together. So what do you think of this new pairing on NBC?
Henry's a pro. Luke's laughing over here. Luke's got milk coming out of his nose. I mean, goodness.
If I couldn't look at Luke, because if I did, I'd have lost it for real. I'd have lost it.
Goodness gracious.
Luke takes a big gulp of milk in between questions. Half of it coming out of his nose. Unbelievable. All right.
Man.
So, I love talking broadcasting. And I love NBC's coverage, and they've made a lot of changes over the years. I long for the Dan Patrick, Tony Dungy days, but at least Tony Dungy's still there. But Jason Garrett, I thought was fine with the content, but man, his voice seemed really awkward for like the tone, like his tone and sound for like the setting.
He's still football coach mode. He's football coach mode.
So like Tony Dungy's so peaceful and quiet and just smooth, right? He's just great to listen to. And then Jason Garrett just gets down there like, man, this is intense. It was nuts. So hopefully he learns to kind of tone it down a bit. I think there's potential there. He's got to tone it down.
So he gets made fun of by Dallas radio guys all the time for his storytelling being so subpar. Like he has this go-to story of like, it's like a Buddhist parable that he tells, but he makes it sound like he knows this guy from the story. And his delivery is very subpar. But I saw people on Twitter making fun of Jason Garrett, saying Jason Garrett just told the same story twice in the same hour.
Oh no!
Like he forgot he told the story and then told it verbatim again. Ooh. So that was tough. But yeah, he's in yellow.
You gotta have your go-to stories. You gotta have your. I understand repeating stories. Guilty, but you can't do it in the same hour. You gotta spread them out.
Tough.
You gotta spread them out. But no, and then as far as Matthew Berry goes, I think he's fine. I think he's a good. He was good at ESPN, good fantasy analyst. He's a personality. He's really been sort of the face of fantasy football experts, which is cool. To go to NBC is a big deal. To be a part of Football Night in America, but my whole thing is at Sunday night. That's usually their big show at 7:00 on Sunday night. The day has already been over, so you're not really benefiting from his fantasy analysis kind of the day up. Now, I know he's going to do a show in the morning on Peacock, but I'm not going to open up another app and try to find it. Sorry.
You'll be too busy watching NFL Plus. You don't have time
true.
for that.
True. I can't be, I have 3 TVs, but I'm not sure I can be opening all these different apps and wait, all right, I got this app on this TV. That's a lot.
So here's the biggest possible benefit from Matthew Berry moving to NBC. And it's something that you are passionate about, Bryce. And it is, we're one step closer to having a fantasy analyst on broadcasts. Yes. We have a fantasy guy now at a network television. We're closer.
Yep.
The door is cracked. But like, at what point are these guys going to realize we've got to have a fantasy analyst? The amount of people watching NFL games with their fantasy team, constant. That they're watching these games for fantasy implications. Get a fantasy analyst in there. hey, we're going to go to our Bryce Johnson, our fantasy analyst, for our breakdown right after Michelle Tafoya. I mean, come on, back to back. We need it.
So another big change is Michelle Tafoya is off of NBC. She was awesome. She did a great job. Melissa Stark comes in. She's solid. I think she'll be fine. And I'm good with sideline reporters. I think they, especially during an NFL game, there's injury information. It's beneficial. But you should be able to complement that. To me, a Matthew Berry during a game is even more valuable than Pereira, the ref, during a game.
Way more valuable. Come on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's fine. Like, it's fine to get a quick insight. Like, oh, that was a holding call or whatever. Oh, it's pass interference, which is, it's fine. It was a nice addition.
Echo chamber.
It was a nice addition.
I don't know.
But I think the fantasy guy would be sweet.
Way
so
better.
I'm with you, Luke. I think this is
at
a
least
step in the right
Pereira
direction.
better than Pereira in basketball games. Pereira is like the Swiss Army knife of calling the ref. Like, oh, what are we doing?
I know, that's always awkward. Theme of the show today: awkwardness. All right, Henry, let's awkwardly take us to the next one.
Okay, hopefully we can transition from that awkward moment there. Now, just as Mike Greenberg would say on Get Up, we are going to talk about golf. Now, I know how much you guys love golf, and at iHeartRadio here in Connecticut, we have plenty of guys that say, you know what, can I get off early? I've had guys ask, can I get off early because the course is about to close and I need to get my 18 in? So that brings us to Will Zalatoris, who had to make the toughest decision of his life. He fired his caddy, which was his best friend. Now imagine this: you and your boy are going along the PGA. You guys are making the top 10 every week. And actually, Will Zalatoris, the day that he fired his caddy, was actually not having a bad game, but he decided at that particular moment, he was like, you know what? This isn't working. You know it. I know it. It's like that commercial where the guy and the girl says, we both saw this coming, so let's just end this now. So, guys, what do you think about Will Zalatoris firing his best friend in the middle of a tournament?
All right, Luke, I'll let you take this first.
It's confusing because I wrote a devotional for Unpack This last year praising Zalatoris' caddy. And Zalatoris said he went up before a par 3, a big shot, and his caddy called him off and said, yeah, I knew you need to step off the shot and basically gather your breath again. You weren't mentally ready for this shot. Called him off, and then he ended up hitting a great shot. So we're only a year removed from that relationship being incredible and the caddy really benefiting Zalatoris. So it's very fascinating. The player-caddy relationship, there almost needs to be like an academic book or a documentary about that relationship, because it's very interesting. The dynamics there, friendship off the course, what leeway does the caddy have to say to the player? It's all very, very fascinating.
Well, I'm always amazed at the ones that are so professionally relationship-based. There's probably a better way to say that. But to me, I would lean more toward the friendship-based caddy approach. The brother, Jordan Spieth has his teacher, his former teacher. I don't know, some type of relationship. But some of these guys, like, they'll just hire an elite caddy who's been with somebody else. I'm always amazed that works. That's a good option where you don't have that personal trust there and that relationship. For me, I would lean toward that, even though I never had a caddy before. But I can imagine that would be what I would prefer.
So Zalatoris, I just pulled up the article. He said they've had a rough month together, and it was starting to affect their relationship off the course, and he didn't want that. He said the golf was starting to affect their friendship, which it's a tough dynamic. It's interesting.
But can they still be friends? That's what would be interesting. Are you going to lose a friend? So then you step into that caddy relationship with the threat of, will this remain? Will we remain friends?
Yeah.
And to me, it's too easy for the golfer to blame the caddy. I can't feel good about that when the caddy takes too much of the blame.
We need to support caddies more. We need to endorse the caddy blaming the player. We need way more of that. It's the player's fault. Come on, what are we doing?
Yeah.
The caddy has important benefits, and I don't want to downgrade the caddy. Every player, caddy is very important, especially for morale and strategy. And some caddies help read putts, but ultimately, come on, the blame falls on the player.
Absolutely. All right, Henry, what else, man?
All right, let's go one more here, and let's talk about Pat McAfee. Now, Pat McAfee seems to be everywhere. He's on Friday Night SmackDown. He has his own show on Sirius XM. If you guys listen to it, I know I've heard it a couple of times. If you like that kind of thing, and now he's teaming up with, of all people, Peyton Manning to do a Manning Cast type show for college football. So Pat McAfee joins Peyton Manning's Omaha Productions for a simulcast during college football games. So what do we think of the Manning cast going down into college football?
So to me, Peyton Manning is a media mogul, and I love kind of the direction that he goes with his content, like the feel, the approach. He's even teaming up with Kyle Brandt, who I'm a big fan of from Good Morning Football. They're doing a podcast and for Omaha Productions, Kyle is. And so, I don't mind McAfee. I don't appreciate all the language. So it's like his radio show is very vulgar. So I don't recommend the show. But what I do appreciate is his, he's very open and transparent. Like, it's very real. His show is very real. He has Aaron Rodgers on once a week during the season. He gets the most out of Aaron Rodgers. So he's very
not
talented.
Vanilla at all.
No,
nothing vanilla.
He's brought a wrinkle to the broadcasting world, and he's a unique personality, and he's got a loyal audience. And actually, he does his show with all of his buddies, like his friends that he grew up with. He's brought them in to do the show with him. So it's pretty cool. So as far as this college football simulcast, it's a great idea. I'm all in. I like college football, but if I don't necessarily have a team that I'm really pulling for, a player that I'm jumping in to watch, I may casually keep an eye on different games. But if I can listen to McAfee, and he's got to be edited on ESPN, so I'm in. I think this will be great. I'm sure we'll have some fun guests on. Like I told you guys, I love the Manning cast on Mondays. I've enjoyed a little bit of the A-Rod cast with Michael Kay for baseball. What I've heard of that has been good. I've liked it. So I'm sure McAfee will be even better.
If it's getting you to watch baseball, then it must be, award-winning good.
I love the concept. I really do. This whole game cast. And I was into it a few years ago when they were trying different things for big games. They used to have a bunch of like ESPN personalities sitting around in a room. And I was like, they're on to something here. This is cool. So I'm into it.
So what do you think about the name Omaha Productions? Is that cringe? Is that a little cheesy?
That's fine.
Omaha,
I like it.
So if you had a production company, what word would be used? What word do you say all the time that would be used to name this company?
Well, I used to have a company. It's called Yap Productions. So my first radio show was part of Yap Productions.
Sports Yap, baby.
That's right.
Did you use the word yap in your vocabulary?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the show was called Sports Yap. We had yappers that were the listeners. We did, everything was yapping. So here we're unpacking it. We're always unpacking something. We're unpack this, unpack that. It used to be yapping. We were yapping all the time. So I've changed the tone a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So
all right.
There you go. So, but I like Omaha. I've been teaching Maddie all about the line of scrimmage and getting her cadence down. So we've been playing a little tackle football and stuff. And so she'll go hut. So I got her doing Omaha.
She's gonna be the girl from Friday Night Lights. Is what it sounds like. She's gonna be watching film and everything.
That's right. You probably
not Friday Night Lights. Remember the Titans.
Oh, there you
go.
Yes, yeah.
There you go.
Hayden Panettiere. Yeah, that's
Hayden Panettiere. That's right.
Yeah, there you go. So we'll see. But Henry, good stuff, man. I appreciate it.
Hey guys, just to let you know that from now until the end of the calendar year is nothing but football.
It's football.
Preseason football starts this Thursday.
That's right. Football every Saturday morning, 6:30 a.m. Central Time in London, England. Can't wait for that football, man.
Yeah, have fun.
Football.
Have fun with that.
Go Blues. 1-0. 1-0 this season.
All right. So fun show. Thanks for everybody listening. Thanks everybody jumping in on the chat. Thanks for all the emails. Always love hearing from you. And hopefully you were encouraged today. The mantra, keep pounding. Let's keep praying. Let's keep trusting. Let's keep obeying. Let's keep following Jesus day in, day out. No matter the circumstances, the difficulties, let's keep trusting him and the power that we have within us to keep pounding. He enables us to be able to do that in a way that we can endure and persevere. So let's continue to rely on him and yield to the Holy Spirit within us. Man, so thanks for all the help behind the scenes. We will talk to you next week. Thanks to our intern, CJ. Good work out of him as well. Landon has gone back to school, so we had a fun summer with Landon. We're going to try to keep him involved with the show this fall, so we'll keep you posted on that. I know he became a fan favorite here at Unpacking It. So the studio's a little lonely without Landon here today. But thanks for listening. I'm Bryce. I'm a sports fan who follows Jesus. I believe in the good news that he died on the cross for my sin. He was resurrected, and through faith, I've been saved by his grace. I hope that is true for you as well, and I hope you'll join me as we live life as sports fans who follow Jesus together. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you next time right here on the Unpacking It podcast presented by Medi-Share.